dear participants, in this session we will learn some of the weaknesses of the data science framework and basics of data visualization. If we have to visualize the data, so what are the things that we should remember before visualizing the data? How we should visualize, so what are the things that we should consider, and some of the weakness of the data science framework. So these are the two things that we will discuss in this session, right? Pitfalls of the data science framework and basics of data visualization. So, first weakness, that is what you can say, confirmation trap, right. So, this is the trap that most of the people may face during the data analysis, right. So, what happens when we pay more attention to our belief, right, and ignore the facts and patterns in the data, then we fall into the confirmation bias, right. I hope you understand what I am trying to make you understand. Like somebody who is experienced person, right. So, that person might have come across with so many findings, right. So, because of that, that person's belief got developed, right. This should happen in this way, this is how it should happen, right. So, because of that, sometimes we ignore the facts and pattern that is there in the data, but we are not able to see or we do not pay much attention to it. So, if this is the indication, then that person may fall into the confirmation trap, right. That is what may happen with the, I am not saying it happens with everyone, but it may happen with some of the people, right. Similarly, that I can tell you the one principle, the things in which you believe more, you try to see, or that is visible more in front of you, right. So, that is the belief that you will see, right, because this is the impact of the belief. If you believe in something, that is how it happens, then your attention towards that particular things will be more, and because of that you may ignore some of the things, right, which you should not do, right. So, it may happen. So, you have to think before, after analyzing the data, have you suffered from the confirmation trap or not. So, that is what you need to recheck your results, you need to reconfirm the results, check it again and again, so that you confirm you are not suffering from the confirmation trap. That is what may happen with you while analyzing the data. So, you need to be very careful about, after the data analysis, about the confirmation trap. Second trap that you may face, that overconfidence trap, right. So, what happens in this case, like senior decision maker who have been promoted to higher positions in the organization based on past success, like in past whatever decision that they have made, right. So, they have proved their decision making abilities in their throughout career, right. So, because of that, what happens, person gets overconfident, right, and does not pay much attention to the questioning methods, motivation, communicating the findings. So, basically I can say that when somebody gets huge experience while doing data analysis, that person sometimes does not give much attention to the research method process, that research process, right, identifying the problem, developing the hypothesis, collecting the data. So, sometimes it happens that this researcher may not do not pay more attention to the entire process. So, because of that negligence, we miss some of these steps, or we do not go in depth as much as priority we should give to the each step that we do not give, because the overconfidence that our decision maker that is having, he may say that I have done this particular activity so many times, I have done this particular activity so many times, because of that I should not recheck it, right. So, the such kind of mistakes that senior decision makers may make. I am not saying that always they make such kind of mistake, but sometime it happens they make. So, whenever you have analyzed the data and whenever you are conducting this research process, so the research process has to be in depth, rigorous, so that the impact of overconfidence bias of some of the people is not there on the results, right. And so if because of this overconfidence about the research process, that each steps of the research process may suffer, and because of that you may not reach to the right decision, right, or more appropriate decision where you would have reached. Because of that it may be possible. So, you need to recheck the all entire process at any step. Have you suffered with the overconfidence bias or not? Next step that you may be facing, that the overfitting trap, right. Sometime it may possible you are getting results which you have not expected, right, some surprising results that you are getting it, right. So, because of that you are excited and you are trying to fit that particular result, right, that is what you are trying to make that result fit. So, that is also may happen during the research process whenever you are making this decision. So, now what you need to do, you need to think about these all three type of trap, whether it is overfitting, confirmation or overconfidence of the decision maker. Any of the trap if you are in, then you will not be able to reach to the right decision, you will not be able to do the right analysis of your data, that whatever data that you have at your hand. So, while doing this data analysis you have to be very cautious about this decision making process. And fourth thing that I always say, do not let your analytics hide the truth, right. So, what you need to do in this case, because when you are calculating the especially mean value, right. So, that may be impacted by the outlier. So, you need to be very careful about the outliers in your data, right. For example, average age of 5 employees, right. So, for example, average age of 5 employees, one employee's age is 20, another one is 21, 23 and 20, 24 and one employee's age is 80, right. So, because of this 80, one employee's age, this entire mean of these 5 employees may be impacted, right. So, whenever you are doing this analysis, you have to report this outlier, one of the employee that is having that employee is 80-year-old. So, when you are highlighting, because if you will not highlight, then the average age of employee that is there approx 22, that is the approximate that age is there, average is there. So, this age may be impacted because of this 80, one outlier is there, and because of that you will not be able to make the right kind of projection about the average age of the employee. So, such kind of outlier, whether it is related to the work experience, whether it is related to the salary, whether it is related to the age, whether it is related to number of application, right, from where they are coming. So, any outlier is there in term of the source of application, any outlier is there that you need to identify, you have to report it, so that the truth of the data will not be hidden. If you will not report the outlier, then possibility is very high you will not be able to tell the truth which your data is telling. So, what is my suggestion to the all manager, whenever you are analyzing the data, please check your data whether it is having any outlier or not. If outliers are there, then you have to be very cautious about the data. I hope it is clear to you, right. Now, whenever you have to make the visualization. So, basics of the visualization if you understand. So, first thing that you need to understand, know your audience. You should know your audience, who is your audience is, right. So, in this case what you can say see x and y, that is what you can see. So, see the two dimensions are is there, one is x, another one is y, right. On x you can see analytics expertise, on x you can see analytics expertise. So, whoever is your audience, whether that audience is expert of analytics or no, right. So, low to high. So, you need to, so the one dimension that is measuring the analytics expertise. Second dimension is measuring the knowledge of the specific analytics project. So, whatever project that you are presenting, so knowledge about that particular project. So, how much knowledge that audience is having, right. So, that is what you need to see, low to high. So, in this case, so that is how you can divide your, that is how you can divide your all audience into the 4 category, right. So, if knowledge about these knowledge of the specific analytics project is high and analytics expertise also very high, then you can say they are the master. So, presentation, data visualization for these master has to be different from the newcomer, because newcomer may not understand so many terms and that you have used in your presentation, right. Although these people are some of the people, that category that we discussed, first category, that is the master. So, they are the expert of the analytics as well as they are having the knowledge of the specific analytics project, right. So, you cannot give the same presentation to the all 4 categories, right. So, you need to understand. So, what you can do before making a data visualization presentation in front of anyone, what do? You make this 2 by 2 matrix, understand in which quadrant that the audience is coming, whether it is coming in the master, whether it is coming in the scientist, whether they are coming in the category of newcomer or they are the enthusiast, right. Analytics expertise is low, but knowledge about the project is very high, right. In the same way, you can see low expertise is low, knowledge also very low. So, they are the newcomers, just they have started, right. So, presentation for this newcomer has to be different from the masters. Master's presentation has to be different from the scientist, and scientist presentation has to be different from the enthusiast, right. So, who is your audience that you need to understand, and as per the expertise of that audience, you have to develop your presentation or you have to visualize your data. That is what you need to do it, right. So, this is the one of the way that I can suggest you to divide your audience into 4 categories, and as per after dividing the this audience, you can make your presentation. So, what are the things that you need to consider in a presentation, we will discuss in coming slides, right. So, now what type of things that you can ask, like based on these 4 quadrant. So, first you need to understand who is your audience. I already said how to do that, 2 by 2 matrix, that scientist, newcomers, master. So, in which category your audience comes. So, answer that question, they are the master, they are the scientist, they are the newcomer. How will it read it and interpret the information? So, how newcomer will read it, how newcomer will interpret it, right. So, newcomer may not be aware about the each and every terms. So, what you need to do? You have to give a detail of each and n terms, what is x axis, what is y axis, how many numbers are there, what is the percentage, right. So, everything has to be in detail for the newcomer, right. Opposite to that, for a master, it is not necessary everything has to be in detail, but depth of the information that has to be more, right. So, depth, that you can say coverage of that analysis, interpretation, that has to be more in the case of the master. So, that is what you can think of. So, first question, that is what you can think of before visualizing it, who is your audience and how they read it and they interpret it, right. Second thing that you can do it, can you assume these individuals have knowledge of the terminology and concept that you will see, right. So, I already said the moment you have assumed the category, and then you have to think whether they have the understanding about the terminology and concepts that you are going to use or not. Next, you need to understand, or so do they need any assistance from the presenter, from that visualization to understand that visualization. If they need any assistance, you provide it. So, in the case of newcomer and enthused, they may need little bit more information than the masters and scientists, right. So, that is what you need to understand, right. So, that is what the note that I have written here. An audience of the expert will have a more expectation from the general audience, right. So, expectation, expert will expect you should be able to drive some meaningful interpretation from the visualization, right. So, they may be interested in more, they may be interested in the quality of information that you are presenting through the visualization, right. So, visualization tools. Next thing that you need to understand, what is the visualization's functional role and how can viewers can take action from it, right. So, after visualizing, you need to understand how viewer, whoever is viewing that visualization, how they can make a decision about based on that, how they can understand, how they can use that particular information that you have visualized it. So, that is what you need to think about, right. So, these are the questions that you can think in detail before visualizing any data through the Excel by using Excel, Power BI or Tableau, right. So, next, what is the aim of the data visualization, that also you need to understand. So, aim of the data visualization is to confirm the sum of the information, right, that is the purpose, or is to give a to educate someone, right, that is the objective, or to explore the new insights and new things, right. So, what is the objective? So, if objective is confirmation, then your way of presentation has to be different. If your objective is to educate someone, then your presentation has to be different. If your objective is to explore something, some new thing that you want to explore, then your presentation has to be different, right. So, in all three category, the presentation has to differ from one category to another category. So, before visualizing the data, you need to understand the aim of the visualization. So, how you can understand? By understanding your audience carefully, right. So, what this your audience is expecting? It is expecting to get it confirmed, or it is expecting to get it more educated about that particular data, or it is that audience is having to wants to explore little bit more in depth about the problem, right. So, what is the objective? That is what you need to understand, the objective of the data visualization. So, if you find it right objective, you match with the right visualization strategy, your audience will be more happy, right, or you will be able to make more a clear understanding about the data to your audience, right. So, after making the graph, after making the graphs, what do you have to do, right. So, but question comes, how you should make the graph, right, first, and then what questions that you should ask. So, before making the graph, I always suggest how you should make the graph. In coming sessions also, you will listen when I will use this Power BI, Excel or Tableau. In that also I will say clearly, if you have understood this data science framework. So, first thing that I had focused on problem, right, problem, HR issues. So, the moment you have identified this HR issues, right, from these HR issues, now you need to identify the variables, right, variables. So, like you have identified age, gender, work experience, expected salary, right, performance rating. So, for example, these are the variables that you have identified to understand one of the problem. So, what you can do here now, in the moment you have collected the data in and then you have transformed it, you have make it appropriate for the analysis, right. So, till here you have reached, and that is what you have done it. After this, what you have to do? You have to think, if you will make a age and gender, right? These are the two variable. So, how you want their presentation? Age and work experience, how you want to present it, right? So, whether you want to make age and genders together you want to present it, along with work average work experience also you want it, right? So, in this case you can make it a table, right? If you want to make it only age and gender, in this case you can see age is a continuous and gender is a categorical. So, in this case you can make a bar graph, right? An average age of male employees and average age of female employees, right? Second thing that you can do, you can divide this age into the categories, right? Various categories that you can divide a age, and then you can check how many males are there, how many females are there in that particular category. So, what I am trying to make you understand, before visualizing this data, you understand the nature of variables, right? Nature of variables. So, gender is a categorical, work experience is a continuous, expected salary is a continuous, performance rating is a, you can say, interval, right? So, these are the categories that you need to understand and how these categories can be presented well, right? And when you have to average it, when you have to sum it, when you have to multiply it, right, that nobody is going to teach you, right? This basic mathematics understanding that you need to have by yourself. Nobody can make you understand. In this case you have to multiply, in this case you have to add it. So, what you have to do? You have to have a basic understanding of the variable. So, understand the nature of the variable, how you want to present it, and you have thought this is the graph that you have to make it, right? Now, go to that particular tool and make that particular graph, right? And before making the graph, you understand through this graph what you want to communicate. So, ask question, what message am I trying to convey through this particular graph? Ask yourself what message that you want to give it. So, if your message and your visualization both things are matched, right, then you can say that yes, it is a right kind of visualization, right? Second question that you can ask, do my visuals accurately reflect the number, whatever number that you have presented? So, if you will see in coming sessions, I will show some of the graphs which are there, but participants forgot to put the number, right? So, whatever number that you want to put it, whether in the form of number, absolute number, that introduction session that if you remember, I had discussed the way of measuring the variable. So, how you want to measure it? You want to measure it in term of the percentage, you want to measure in term of the percentile, you want to measure in term of the percentage, right, percentile in term of the number. So, how you want to measure it? So, is it reflecting the same number in which you want to measure it, right? So, if that is what you want to do it, so you have to check your visuals accurately. Third, an important question that you need to ask to yourself, that is the, is my data is memorable or not, right? If through the visualization, if some of the people are able to memorize your the data, it means your visualization is very good, right? If people are not able to visualize the data, not able to memorize the data, then you can say your data is not that good. So, can you visualize the data in such a way so that people are able to remember your data, whatever data that you are going to present in any report, or you are going to make a presentation in any PowerPoint presentation. So, people are able to memorize your graphs, they are able to memorize your tables, anything that if answer is yes, then you can say your data visualization is very good, right? So, I hope you would have understood the process of understanding the audience and importance of the audience, right, in the data visualization. That is the one thing, few principles related to the data visualization, how you can make the better graph, what you should know before using this tool and techniques of the data visualization, right. So, I hope you would have understood these basic things related to this and weaknesses of the data science framework. So, thank you for understanding this lesson.